Okay then. Alright. There's a lot to say tonight. Honestly, it's been a lot of news in under the past 24 hours. Before we do even get into this whole Monday Night Raw review tonight, which I am going to shit on this fucking crowd tonight, because they were deader than... Good God, they were just so dead. I'll come up with a joke for that in a second, but it looked like a damn library out there tonight, or almost like a funeral or something. But before we get into Monday Night Raw tonight, number one, as the news broke out today, as you kind of saw what I just held up the shirt, D-Generation X being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Pretty much the first one's in there, and I'm assuming will headline the show. And what do I have to say about DX going in the Hall of Fame? Now, I've been reading a lot today, and some people look at this as a good and bad thing, which I could agree on. Number one, DX deserves it either way, okay? Like, you knew sooner or later they were going to go into the Hall of Fame, which is, well-deserved. They are, one of the most influential groups in professional wrestling, and they have done a lot. Now, I know it's been a lot of back and forth going on today with... Okay, listen, we all know the members of DX being inducted. Triple H, Shawn Michaels, which will make him a two-time Hall of Famer, the New Age Outlaws, Road Dogg, Billy Gunn, X-Pac, and Chyna. Now, the thing people have been talking about today is that it's a good and bad because, number one, a lot of people said Chyna should be inducted on her own, which I do agree with that. She should be, but... if she was not going to go on her own, she would go in with the rest of the members to D-Generation X. And, she's in the Hall of Fame either way, okay? Is it a little too late and they should have been done it? Yes, it is in a way. And especially, I should say, getting her in. Some people really thought she should have been in after she died or in the past 2 years now, because... she does deserve going by herself, and I believe Triple H did say in an interview today and that eventually it will happen, so I'm sure she will go in. She's just going to be in with the group first, because she does deserve her own spot, which I actually kind of thought, because I don't know how many other women they got left to put in the WWE, to be honest, and which I'm sure there's a lot, and maybe I don't know, but, sooner or later, I would have expected her to go in the Hall of Fame on her own, which she deserves, because, people have been really... wanting that for the past few years now, even her, even Chyna herself before she had, died and everything, because she really was pushing for that for a very long time. If you would look, I remember there was a lot of videos she had put out on YouTube and was really advocating to be in there, before she died and everything. So I know that is a fact, and you can look that up if you want. And I don't know, so maybe some people I'm reading, some people think too savage speech if they had to go on her own, but listen, she deserves it. She's done a lot when she was there in the Attitude Era. Was it 2-3-time Intercontinental Champion, Women's Champion, first woman to compete in the Royal Rumble match. So it's a lot you can say, and I understand why people are saying that she should have went on her own, but still, she was a core member to D-Generation X, and either way, it is well-deserved, and at least they finally got her in the Hall of Fame. I will say one thing, though. I always expected Triple H to go in the Hall of Fame by himself before he would go in, the Hall of Fame with DX, okay? I always imagined that, because it's kind of happened with Shawn. He went on his own. But with Triple H just, running NXT and still all over the place nowadays, there will be a day when that comes. As everybody else, even though most of the people in DX are still somewhat active competitors when you want to look at it. Wasn't Road Dogg on here 2-3 weeks ago on Raw with him and Jared kicking the shit out of Elias and, just doing the whole Outlaws intro. So, there you go. I know people criticize Road Dogg in the back nowadays for several reasons, which it has to do with writing and some of the shit he says on Twitter, but it is still the D-O-double-G, and yeah, like I said, you saw me literally a few weeks ago doing the whole Outlaws intro, being excited as fuck, wearing the DX shirt, because he was probably one of the most over things on Raw a few weeks ago, and to this day with that intro. So there you go. So the Outlaws, much deserved. Some people really thought, so they're really going to put Billy Gunn in, even though he's with AEW right now, as some people are going at, which you can tell the AEW effect takes a lot of things at WWE, but they fired Billy Gunn from his company for a while ago, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if it had to do with a drug thing or not. I don't remember. I need to go back and look it up. I think it was some test. I remember they fired him for some odd reason. And I know Billy's just been everywhere. I've seen the guy in the indies, and hell, I saw him at All In too. So there you go. And they bring Billy Gunn back if it's something for DX. So I do know that, but he's like a head coach, I believe now, or a producer for AEW. So some people were already in question with that. I know X-Pac is still out here doing things. Listen to his podcast if you want to get that chance. And we know what Triple H and Shawn do. There's really no, explanation of that. So we kind of know. But yes, DX does deserve it. Like I said, some people look at this as a good and bad thing. I don't know who else would have been able to headline the Hall of Fame this year. I know some people are saying right now maybe this is a way for them to try to compete with the G1 Supercard, because it will be on the same night as the Hall of Fame for Ring of Honor New Japan. Because I've said this before by myself, because before it was going to be NXT on Saturday night, but they didn't, and they changed to Friday night. Some people believe that WWE just backed out because they were afraid of competition and didn't want to compete on the same night with NJPW and Ring of Honor, which competition is good. I would have gone with that, but don't back out. Because even I said before, I'm going to watch the G1 Supercard over the Hall of Fame. I said that before, and trust me, go back and look at my videos, but I will most likely catch the end for DX. I don't know who else is being in the Hall of Fame. I don't really know that right now, so I'm sure throughout the coming weeks we will see who's going in. I just, nowadays these Hall of Fame speeches are really long that I just don't care. But, DX, I will watch. I know some people say who will put D-Generation X in. I don't know, but we'll see. But like I said, I will say one thing in, just regarding the DX. Like I said, it's great they're in the Hall of Fame, because my favorite, I will say this, my favorite incarnation of DX was in 98, 99, of course, when you had the full group together and stuff. I know some people like the beginning incarnation with Shawn, Triple H, and Chyna, and Rick Rude, who was a member in such a way at the time, which was really good. Some people say that is their favorite. I liked it when Billy Gunn, Road Dogg, and X-Pac were all involved in, because Shawn was out with injury and Triple H took over the group and created his army then, and we had them. And some people say that after 98, people kind of started to hate DX after a while, and I can understand why. Like 99, I still liked, even though it was this Triple H full heel mode, and I did like it because DX was kicking the shit out of everybody on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown, when they had them going against people like Austin, Rock, Kane, and McMahon and them, which even though the people that were still, even though they were heel, DX, the crowd still loved them, and the Outlaws were pretty much faces in a way, because no one couldn't really boo Road Dogg, because of course the Outlaws intro, of course, and stuff like that. I will say my only problem with DX in 99 was when they jumped the shark, when they put Stephanie McMahon in the group, which just really jumped the shark with me. And then I remember, what's the girl's name? Tori, she was in there, and I always didn't like it when he kicked out Billy Gunn, because I remember that year, it was No Way Out. I think it was 2000, and the Outlaws lost the titles to the Dudleys. And then the next fight, because Billy Gunn was hurt, I think he had to have rotator cuff surgery, and then they kicked him out of the group, which made no fucking sense to me. And then it was just like three of them, and that's when sadly DX dissolved, and kind of later in time in 2000, because it was only just three of them really, and Road Dogg and X-Pac had to do their own thing, because this was all the way mostly to push Triple H when he was the WWF champion at the time. So that was just kind of odd. And I always liked the Run DMC DX theme too. Like, look that up, the Run DMC song. That was always a great theme they came out to. 06 DX. Some people think they just became a big comedy act after that, because even I remember watching, I always wonder where the other members were, but we all kind of knew they were all doing their own thing. I remember some of them were in TNA as it was anyways, but '06 was funny, but you know, also against the McMahons and the Spirit Squad. But some people they thought it was just bad jokes and wasn't the same thing. And like I said, it's a whole debate on that. And then the worst thing they ever did was put Hornswoggle in the Tam DX in '09. That was fucking shit. And we've seen them come back several times, like Raw 1000 and 25th anniversary of Raw. And dude, they just competed at that Crown Jewel crap, like with just Triple H and Shawn. That Crown Jewel crap against the Brothers of Destruction back in November, I think. Was it November? Yeah, November, I think it was. So there you go. I'm just saying a little things from DX here and there, but like I said, DX deserves it. I'm glad they finally put China in the Hall of Fame. I know, like I said, I know there's a lot of differences on it, and I understand why, but she's still in either way. And like I said, down with that, 2 words for you. Suck it. So I don't know. You tell me what you think about DX going into Hall of Fame. Like, tell me what you think about that. But we kicked off Monday Night Raw in Lafayette, Louisiana. Jesus fucking Christ, this crowd sucks. Triple H was out there to kick off the show as he talked about what happened last night at the Elimination Chamber, from Sasha and Bailey winning the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, which they are not the first Tag Team Champions. You may want to do your research there, people. Like I said last night. And Finn Balor won the Intercontinental Championship, and Kofi Kingston capturing hearts of the fans of close to win the WWE title. And then talked about how Becky was suspended but came in and beat Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair with a crutch. But I could come out here and sound all corporate, but personally she thought it was pretty cool. And Triple H talked about DX being in the Hall of Fame from all the members, and that the road to WrestleMania is here, and he's put gas on the fire. And now he talked about how outside of here of Raw and SmackDown, we're live. There's no screw ups and everything. So NXT was gonna be on here tonight, so we got to see some NXT people. Unfortunately, when Triple H announced these people from NXT who are big name stars, this crowd couldn't have not given a crap, and I'm sure there was mostly casuals out there because they did not know who any of these people were tonight. Let me get this straight. They had nothing. They did not know who these people from NXT was. There probably may have been like 10 or 15 people that knew who these people were from NXT, but a majority of this crowd were like, who are these guys? Like, you expect a big pop, and even when Triple H announced them, it was like literally no reaction. Nobody cared, okay? They were just kind of sitting on their hands. I've said this before about Southern crowds being very bad, and this one just shows it, because he talked about Ricochet, Aleister Black, Johnny Gargano, and Tommaso Ciampa. I know some people thought that these people were being brought up tonight on Raw, which I never really kind of believed it was, because I'm like, why would we call up more NXT people when you haven't really done anything with the current, I would say second tier 6 people you've brought up already? Because I look at them and what have they really done ever since they brought them up? You had Nikki Cross already kind of losing, and you got them floating around on both shows. Heavy Machinery is pretty good. I don't understand Lacey Evans, which I'll get to later on in this review. EC3, he's just a mime. He's a smiling mime. That's all he does. I don't even know what the fuck ever happened to Lars Sullivan. Whatever with panic attacks. I don't know what's happening with him nowadays, but I didn't think you would bring these guys up. And you got 2 of them that are champions already. Tommaso Ciampa is the NXT champion. Why would he really be brought up right now? But, Triple H says, hell was about to break loose. And then it was, it's funny. It's cool you get these announcements. But then we go to a match that no one cares about and did not even care about last night. Let's put Baron Corbin and Braun Strowman in a tables match. Who gives a shit? Seriously, who gives a flying fuck about these two and this feud? It sucks. Nobody cared last night, and nobody cares again tonight. Now, I know people question why were these people from NXT even being brought up on Raw tonight, because WWE already spoiled it early in the day. They said when they announced it, I think it was on Twitter and WWE.com, that they were in the back today, so it was already being reported about that. But there's several reasons why people believe the people from NXT were on this, because I don't think they were being called up. Was it to get people to check out NXT by watching these people? Was it because they don't have anyone better on the roster to do anything tonight? Was it to help with the ratings? Was it for Triple H to put himself over as NXT God? Or are we just giving these guys a shot? I wish it would have been in a better city, because I'm seeing people on the internet tonight saying, who are these job guys, these idiots? They need to bring some stars on here. No one cares. And this crowd probably doesn't even know what NXT even is. Maybe outside of 15, 20 people in the crowd. They don't know who the fuck these people are. They don't. They don't. They really didn't. And I don't know. There's many reasons you can go why they were even brought up on here, but it felt different. It felt refreshing, and I just felt bad because of the reaction they got, though. But moving on into that, we had Strowman versus Corbin in a tables match. I honestly did not care. I knew Strowman had a lot of tape on him. All I really can take from this is that Strowman won after, Corbin did that whole slide out the ring and then coming back in, which he got, power slammed through the table into the corner and won the match then. But I did not care about this match really yesterday, and I didn't really care about it tonight. So why are we still seeing this dead feud? It's just dragging on forever. Wow, I don't see the point in this. I honestly don't. And then pretty much they had Paul Heyman come out, and, Strowman grabbed him as Heyman says, "Let me go." He's like, "You're hurting me. You're hurting me. I can't breathe." And Strowman let him go, and he walked to the back then. So there you go. And I'm almost, and I'm looking at this tables match. I'm almost surprised that Corbin and not Corbin, but I'm surprised Lashley and McIntyre didn't try to come out and help him again. Why are we doing 50-50 booking with this? I don't get it. It's 50-50 booking. Paul Heyman was out here then to talk about Brock Lesnar, and that, which once again, this crowd did not care, and people should be jealous of him. This man is the most dominant champion in WWE and MMA, and talked about he is going to be the main event of WrestleMania, as he pointed it. And then they had a video package which pretty much showed like a little mini history of Brock Lesnar, and that everyone WrestleMania, that your hero has no hope. As he talked about Heyman, he was narrating the thing, but he talked about how Brock grew up on a farm, and it helped them develop killer instinct skills to becoming a collegiate wrestling champion, and then going in WWE, and then becoming the youngest WWE champion of beating The Rock at SummerSlam in 2002. Really great match. Go look that up. And he talked about how Lesnar had left WWE. Well, we all know the reason why, but they didn't really put that out there. And he talked about how he went to UFC. We just skipped over the football career thing. He went to UFC, and he beat Randy Couture for the UFC title. And then, talked about how he dominated in UFC, but he returned to WWE, which once again, they're not going to give the real reason why. And, coming back and beating Undertaker's streak at WrestleMania 30, and that, it was a to be continued, which he says that, Seth Rollins doesn't have a chance and everything, and he's going to lose, and there's not enough fire for Rollins to burn, and his soul to burn down Suplex City. Finn Balor then pretty much interrupted Paul Heyman, and they went to commercial. Once again, with Heyman being great on the microphone, once again, this crowd does not care. Okay, it does not care, even though he's mostly putting over Lesnar several times, which this is nothing new we've ever heard from Paul Heyman before, because they've said many things of Brock doing this, and he said Brock doing that, and I've seen this before in multiple other segments with Brock, as he said these things before. And so it was a good promo and video package, but like I said, the crowd did not care. Finn Balor then came out as the new Intercontinental Champion, and he talked about it's good that he's holding some gold again, and he talked about great Intercontinental Champions like Razor Ramon, Ric Flair, which he only had like one time, I think, and that was in 2007, and Shawn Michaels, and it was a dream of his to wear the belt until Leo Rush came out, and he had his gear on, and there was no Lashley. But he said, you shouldn't be champion. Lashley attacked from behind then as they tried to jump him. Rush did the frog splash, but Ricochet came for the save. No reaction. Ricochet came for the save then, and pretty much took out Lashley and Rush. to pretty much set up a tag team match, which just kind of, I will say, just ate up a lot of time, but it did showcase Ricochet. I do believe he did win the crowd over on some points, because it was really hard for them to get. Like I said, I swear this crowd did not know who the fuck Ricochet even was. I'm sure he got over, mostly I'm sure people saying he got over due to all the flips he did. So I can understand that. Just, some people probably looking at it as a spot fest, but this really did eat up a lot of time. I will say that. I did like how Ricochet kind of did a backflip off the barricade when Lashley threw him into it, and after he did the backflip, Balor did a running drop kick on Lashley outside. Ricochet hit the 630 on Rush to win the match. So Ricochet and Finn Balor pretty much won from there. I know some people say if Finn beat both of them in a handicap match, why did it take him so long? I've read this on Twitter, take him so long to beat in a tag team match with Ricochet tonight, since they kind of gave him more work out there. I'm assuming it still is going to break up Bobby Lashley and Rush. I thought they were broken up last night, but I guess they're somewhat still a team. But I'm sure Lashley is still pissed again of him being the weak link. I don't know where this is going to lead up to. Like I said, I really need to see a Bobby Lashley versus Leo Rush match? Not really, because I get to see him mostly going back to 205 Live, or if they have something for him on Raw. But I'm not really sure on that, since they want to most likely break them up, and they lost again tonight, but they put him back there. But this did spotlight Ricochet well. This pretty much gave him a showcase, if you ask me, to show what he was about, and the people were with it. So, like I said, it's this crowd is just really hard to get into. Triple H was talking to Natalya in the back then. Drew McIntyre came out, said, "You rolled the red carpet out for these NXT guys, but, he told him, I'm going to do anything to prove myself." And he says, talk about Rollins, he's got Lesnar. He says, "Let me face Rollins tonight. Give me a chance so I can main event WrestleMania." But Dean Ambrose said, "I'm not doing anything," and pretty much slapped McIntyre. And then Triple H says, "You still want the match with Rollins, or you want to face Ambrose?" Change the damn match. So it was changed from there. The Lucha House Party, who came out, and then they played an entire, Becky Lynch attacking Charlotte, last night, and pretty much doing a whole segment from last week that took minutes, which they pretty much went to the match in the ring with, Grand Metalik and Lindsay Dorado versus Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. I do not care. No one doesn't seem to care. I'm sure everybody in that crowd was mostly sitting on their hands through this, so who really cared about the Lucha guys going against, Hawkins and Ryder? Oh, it's another loss for Zack Ryder. Not for Zack Ryder, but Kurt Hawkins takes the pin, so the losing streak continues since the Lucha House Party won. Does anybody care? Not really. Heavy Machinery then are showing up on stage with Charlie Caruso out there, as they're talking about Heavy Machinery, and we're big and dangerous, and they love to have fun. We're blue collar and stakes and wakes, and they're talking, and here's the thing, they do this again last night. This was a waste of time. They have Lacey Evans come out again, walk down the ramp, walk back up the ramp, except she's then looking at Heavy Machinery, and then Heavy Machinery head down the ramp, and then they walk back up the ramp to join Lacey Evans, and that was it. I'm thinking Heavy Machinery going in for a match because they're in their gear. They just walked down the ramp with Lacey Evans because she did it last night. What is the point of that? It didn't make sense last night. It doesn't make sense right now. I'm sure somebody put a gif of this already or something, but if you go back to look at a Simpsons episode with Bart Simpson when he worked in that burlesque house, it's like Grandpa Simpson walked in the door with his hat, put it on the coat hanger, picked his hat back up, and walked back right out the door. That's all this really was. I don't know what is she gonna manage Heavy Machinery? I don't get it. I don't understand. Okay, that made no sense to me. I don't understand, why did we even need to see that? This is another one of these waste of time deals we have right here. Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano were in the back as they were here to represent NXT, which as their match tonight is going to be DIY versus The Revival. That's a little bit of NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 1 or 2, if I'm not mistaken, if you want to go back on that. Or we can go back to NXT TakeOver Toronto, Canada. They have faced each other before. So I don't think you were going to expect a takeover match in that. But next thing, they got Rude and Gable showing up, but they don't understand why you guys have a match against the Revival. And Gable talked about, we love seeing fresh talent, but I beat you guys before. But that was NXT. This is Monday Night Raw. And they wanted to face the Revival. But Gargano says, they've been running the Haas brand for over the past 2 years, and no one's better. Which I guess Gargano and, like I said, Gargano and Ciampa are just cool now, and they just, they're DIY. But the Revival showed up and said, they were the new tag champions, and they have history with them. But we're not looking for respect. They were making an impression, as Tommaso Ciampa said, which is almost kind of odd in a way, because we know Ciampa is this big mega heel on NXT, but he almost kind of came off as a face tonight. So something about it. And then again, when you think about it, isn't this a heel versus heel match in this tag match? Okay, number one, we know Ciampa's a heel. Gargano's in between of it when you look at it, but I believe he's just heel at this point. And we know the Revival are heels. Okay, first off, the Revival get no reaction. I'm not surprised at this, but we put the belts on them last week. Gargano and Ciampa, if this was NXT TakeOver or something, you'd hear a mega reaction from both Gargano and Ciampa. But like I said, they got no reaction. But so pretty much it was DIY and the Revival then. And I did like this match. This was not a bad match. This was good. It wasn't TakeOver good, but it was good. And like I said, it's unfortunate the crowd was shit and no one seemed to care. But DIY did win with their, super kick and knee thing as they did it on Scott Dawson. I find it very strange. Why do you have the Revival win the tag titles last week just to job them out to Gargano and Ciampa, who are not even on this show for pretty much one time right now? And they won the belts last week, but Gargano and Ciampa will not be there next week, but they're going to beat the tag team champions and make them look bad again, which, like I said, they won the belts, so you pretty much jobbed them out. That's all I'm saying. That you pretty much jobbed them out here after they won the belts last week. We all know most likely why they won the belts last week, is everyone would say the AEW effect on that, but you could have maybe protected them, maybe do a DQ on that. And some people, I'm seeing people already kind of going at, like, why would you have DIY team up, even though, they're steadily somewhat building into that more and more. If you want to look from a storyline thing. But, like I said, they just kind of put them together. Like I said, this was not a bad match. It was a good match. It was a good tag match, okay? Like I said before, it's just this crowd just was the drizzling shits. It was the shits, okay? It was. But the Revival losing, I'm not really surprised. Hey, it happened to him in NXT anyways. I just wish the crowd was more excited for this match. It wasn't a bad match, but DIY hit their, super kick knee thing, and there you go. NXT champion and North American champion win right there. So good for them. They then with Caruso talking to Balor and Ricochet in the back as Balor welcomed Ricochet to Raw. And Ricochet talked about, living your dream, and he never could imagine this, but it's happening. So I would love to see a Ricochet versus Finn Balor match for the Intercontinental title. That would be great, okay? That'd be really great. They showed Kevin Owens, I guess, was in a movie theater with his family, talking about a few more weeks till he returns. And, he's been rehabbing, he's been training, he's been watching both shows. And then talked about being in an overpriced, movie theater. I guess his son bought some popcorn and said, what happened to the 20 I gave you, for popping popcorn? But pretty much, I guess they didn't get enough change for it, I guess. So there you go. Sasha and Bailey came out then as, they were the new tag team, the new women's tag champions. I swear only 10 people chanted, "You deserve it," and went away very fast. And they talked about making history in NXT, and now on the main roster, they've done it together, and they are champions now. And, they plan on being champions for a long time, and they will defend the titles against anyone past, present, or future. And we will defend it on Raw, SmackDown, NXT. We'll take on anybody pretty much, because we have to switch these titles from different shows, especially Raw and SmackDown, because you only got one set, okay? You only got one set of these belts. And I felt like their promo went on forever though, to be honest. I was listening to their promo, but dude, like I said before, nobody seemed to care. They just didn't care. Nia Jax and Tamina came out, says enough of the love fest then, and you only care about yourselves. Pretty much, she said, Banks says, you always win the title, but then you lose it right after the first defense, which is true. And then, Jax pretty much says, you got lucky last night. This time, it's not going to happen. They pretty much got on the, to the ringside, and they pretty much were kicked off immediately. I think Banks tried to hit a bank statement on Jax, but Tamina got her out of there, and they headed to the back then. So, listen, winning tag titles is one thing, but now they got to book the tag titles right, okay? Like I said, it would have been better if you had a tournament, but now that it's over and it's Elimination Chamber, how are you going to book the champions now? We already know there's enough trouble with them booking the women on, Raw as it is, but let's see how they do with tag titles. And yeah, let me say something right here before I move on with this, because I know people question the women's booking on a lot of things already, but can I say how fucking stupid it was when Paige, I read this article today about Paige saying the reason why WWE never, I guess, believed in the women's division. She said that the WWE would never hold in the women's division back, that the fans were doing it because they weren't paying attention. She said some goofy shit, okay? There was some dumb shit she really did say about that. And you're blaming the fans, but you're not going to blame the WWE booking for what? The 2-minute matches the women used to put on? Or my friend pointed out to me earlier, having Vince have Trish bark like a dog on TV, or bra and panties matches in the past. Like, there's many things that this company has messed up very badly with the women, from many women, to why it's been very bad. But you want to blame the fans for this. Okay, so, the WWE was never holding them back. It was the fans because they didn't take them seriously. Dude, shut the fuck up. Like, I don't know, man. Paige just, I got no fucking clue what that girl's talking about. And it sounded dumb as hell. It really did. Like, go read about it. It's dumb. I don't know if she's getting high off on shit. Listen, and this is the last person to be talking for the shit this girl has done. So, I don't know if you're just trying out here to promote your movie that will kind of, I feel like it's going to bomb in the office, because I don't know why it's even a movie right now. But hey, that's The Rock making this shit. I don't know. But the shit she said sound dumb as fuck. Let's blame the fans, but we're not going to blame creative and booking and Vince and all of them for what they done to women for multiple years till now. So, dumb as hell. Drew McIntyre, what do I have to say from this? Dean Ambrose jobbed to him in 2 minutes? Which makes no sense, because what was the point of Ambrose beating EC3 last week just to lose in 2 minutes to McIntyre? Makes no fucking sense. 2 Claymore kicks. I have no fucking clue why they did that. They didn't even play the rest. They did play the rest of Heyman's video package of Lesnar, as they talked about other than him beating the streak, pretty much having the first Suplex City on John Cena, but winning 2 world titles. Beating Randy Orton SummerSlam, but he went on multiple people. Brock is beaten from Orton to AJ Styles to Goldberg to Roman Reigns to Dean Ambrose to Seth himself. As the video package went on, and Heyman said Lesnar's gonna go back to thinking he's a fine, to take out Seth Rollins, to knock him down, and he's going to get pinned as Seth Rollins. Then after that, if he had any regrets from this, and he says Heyman said a lot of things that Brock has done a lot. Okay, but Rollins says he's going to WrestleMania with a death wish, and he's going to accept this fate, but he says that at WrestleMania, he's going to walk out as the new Universal Champion. Ambrose, for some reason, showed up then, which I guess he's some type of comedy guy now again or something, and he says, where were you? And Rollins says, can I help you with something? And he says, where were we at? And he says, I believe you lost your mind. And Ambrose pretty much shrugged his shoulder and said, and walked away. What is he? Is this some type of comedy thing with Dean Ambrose now? I don't know where this is going with him. I don't know why they got these two going at it again. Well, they're not going at it, but I don't know what they're doing with these two. What are they going to do? Reform some Shield-like thing again? I got no clue what they're doing for Dean Ambrose. And I'm starting to believe more and more he will be gone after WrestleMania, because they just got this guy jobbing out to anybody. And they got mad at him, I heard last week, for saying Slay the Beast last week to him. And he went off script, so people are mad at that. Next thing you know, Elias was in the ring. He doesn't like the way he's been treated, which that can be agree. And he started talking about the town he was in, Lafayette, which he really should talk bad about these guys because this crowd fucking sucks. And, you know, talked about how they're having the new NXT wrestlers, but he makes magic with his fingers every night. And, you know, he's going to hope slip into a deep concept the fans won't forget. Aleister Black came out then, which I guess Cole called him the Dark Destroyer, not the best name if you ask me. And Black came out. He had a microphone, and that, you know, silence is going to help, you know, him to fade the black for Elias out there. I'm surprised this wasn't a squash match entirely, or mostly a showcase. I'm surprised it was a little bit of a back and forth thing with him and Elias for about 8 minutes. But, you know, Black still hit the black mask on the win. You know, for the win, so good. Like I said, it wasn't a bad match, but I just thought it was a showcase. I just wish people would have cared for this match. That's all I wish I could say from that. Because this crowd has just been the shits. And we'll get more on that in the end. And then we go to the main event of this show. Because what they do, they hype Flair's birthday for next week. And this makes no fucking sense right here. Why are we doing Ronda Rousey and Ruby Riott in another singles match again? Because they said, well, with some rematch, Ruby Riott got up. She deserved a rematch. First off, why is this even another match, okay? First off, why was this even a match? Why does Ruby Riott even deserve a title match after she lost in, what, under 2 minutes to Sonya Blade last night by fatality? Or should I say squashality? But we're giving her another title shot, which makes literally no sense. But WWE talks about there's no more rematch clauses anymore or anything, which I know she was never the champion. But why are we doing another rematch after she pretty much got her shit kicked in the night before? Okay, they pretty much buried her ass last night, but this time we actually want to put on a really good match with these two in front of a dead crowd. Why didn't you do that when you had the crowd alive last night for the pay-per-view at Elimination Chamber? Why do you want to wait till Monday Night Raw where the crowd is dead, no one gives a shit about this, and you want to have a good match now? And it wasn't a bad match either, let me put that on. At least they gave Riot some credibility back here, okay? This wasn't bad. Then, you know, Ruby tried to almost win with the Riot kick. It did not work. And, you know, Rousey went in doing old gut wrench suplex and taking down Morgan and Logan, jumping onto them because she did try to get the, you know, armbar in, but it did not work. But, you know, Ruby took it down with another Riot kick and then hit that, it was the senton. But like I said, Rousey grabbed an arm and she jumped on to them outside. The rest of the Riot squad then after that. And she got it back in the ring. Riot tried to do a senton, but it did not work. Rousey pretty much, you know, did the whole jump thing in and flipped her over into an armbar for the win. And then after that, Morgan and Logan got back in and she pretty much flipped the shit on the Riot Squad, and that ended the show. This was just strange, okay? That was just odd to see. Very odd to see. I'm glad Ruby Riott at least had a better showing, and, you know, this was not a bad match. But why would you do it in a bad crowd? Why would you kill the girl last night in under a minute by squashality and pretty much bury her, but now you want to do a rematch tonight? Why in the main event? Makes no fucking sense. This whole show really made no sense, okay? I'm not gonna sit here and say it was really that bad, but the crowd was what really killed it. This crowd was just deader than dead. They didn't care. Almost like they were all sitting in a public library for all I know. Okay, or under a submarine. Listen, I went to the Chicago Auto Show today, which was the last day, and they were more excited about the cars. I was more excited to see the cars and other stuff and get a lot of free swag and everything. That crowd was more energetic than what I saw tonight. I've said it before, stay away from these southern towns, man, because these are shit. I hope they don't come back here anytime soon, because this crowd was just sitting on their hands. This was casuals. They did not know who these people were from NXT, or did they even care about the people on the main roster that were there. They did not know who these people were. They sat on their hands. And I could see it in the crowd. They were either playing with their phones, sitting down, not even reacting, or probably having a conversation with anybody themselves, someone else. And somebody even told me this: what's the point of spending your money coming to this damn thing if you're gonna sit here and make just you know, sit down, clap your hands, make some noise, social enthusiasm, do something. Stop sitting there like some like you just, I don't even know. Like they just took a whole bunch of, you know, NyQuil or Tylenols that made them real tired that they had to sit there tonight, okay? They just did not give no fucks about these people. They did not know who they were, or they just did not care. And it showed tonight. I was just ready for this show to end. I was just ready for it to end. It was just too much deadness out there that it was nothing really to get hyped for. And don't get me wrong, with some bad things on this show too. Listen, I will say this, okay? Was it good to see the NXT guys on there? Yes, it was. I knew they weren't really going to be moved up, but at least it was nice to see them, and most of them got a really good showing on there because these were like the top tier people they brought in, even though it's just a one-time thing for right now. I know there's really a question of why they were even brought up there tonight anyways, and I'm sure that, like I said earlier, there's several reasons why they were even on here tonight from, Black, Ricochet, Gargano, and Ciampa. So it was nice for them to get shine. I wish it was done done of a better crowd that actually gave a fuck and know who these people were. I'm sure all they just got like, who is this? Who's NXT? I don't watch NXT. What is NXT? Maybe they're trying to get people to watch NXT. This guy is from some what indie company? Who gives a shit? That's what I know that they're probably thinking out there. But at least it was good to see them get a showcase tonight to prove something. All right, I will give them that. But like I said, no one cared. The Heyman package I thought was pretty good, just to get Brock Lesnar even more over. You know, he's heard this thing many times, but it wasn't really that bad. Dean Ambrose, I have no fucking clue where they're going with this. I literally don't know. I have no idea, but I'm honestly starting to believe more and more he is going to be gone after this. Sasha and Bailey's promo wasn't bad, but no one didn't seem to care, and I guess they're going to be facing Tamina and Nia Jax again. I did like the Kevin Owens package. I did like DIY versus the Revival, but once again, fuck the Revival. They may be the champions, but they still lose to guys that aren't even on this show. Like I said, no one did not care for either of these teams because once again, they were more quieter than church mice out there. But DIY, like I said, they got the win, whatever, but you make your tag team champions still look bad after they won them last week and then immediately lose to two other champions from an entirely different show. But it's Ciampa and Gargano, so I don't know, you can put that what you want. Heavy Machinery and Lacey Evans, I got no fucking clue. Lucha House Party versus Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins, who gives a flying fuck? Ricochet had a nice debut night with Finn Balor and, going against Lashley and Leo Rush, but it was just kind of there to eat up time, but he had a good showing, though. I will say that. Strowman versus Corbin, why is this even still going? Who cares? Didn't care last night, don't care today. And I don't know where this feud continues. Wasn't Kurt Angle involved in this? What happened to him? Where? I got no idea. Just a very odd, strange show of the show, especially after having an Elimination Chamber. And I didn't even think Elimination Chamber was that bad all the way from last night. There was some bad parts in there, but I wouldn't say it was the worst thing. If you want to see that review, go look at my Elimination Chamber review if you want to go check that out. But as for this show tonight, Lafayette, you suck. Okay, Lafayette, Louisiana sucks ass. This crowd was terrible. Okay, I don't know why was this even a thing, dude. I don't even know why these people wanted to come here if you knew you're gonna just sit down and play with your phones all night. Because they did not know who, like I said, they did not know who any of these people were probably were from NXT, or they did not care about this show that we must just sit around. They were just dead. Listen, like I said, there's many things louder than Raw tonight. The Auto Show, people on PlayStation or Xbox Live are more louder than this, and they may actually show some enthusiasm, and that's what was really needed in this show tonight, was some excitement, okay? So the crowd was really a huge play on the why it sucked, but excuse me. Like I said, that's Raw for you tonight. Comment, subscribe, tell me what you think about Monday Night Raw. Tell me what you thought about the NXT debuts tonight. Like I said, I don't really believe these people are really going to be coming up after this. This was kind of more of a showcase thing. I still think it may be a way for them to watch NXT and turn to it, but I'm not really sure. So we shall see where that goes on from here. But, yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on Monday Night Raw tonight. That's kind of what I mostly got to say about this. I don't know. Like I said, I don't think it was that bad of a show. It was on a lot of levels. It was bad, but I'm not going to say it was the worst show in the world. It's just the crowd had a big, huge factor to why this show was ass, okay? There was some parts that didn't need to be seen, like Strowman and Corbin again, okay? I understand that, and I know some other parts out there too, but there were a couple good things. Like I said, the DIY and, Revival match wasn't bad, just no one didn't care. It wasn't takeover level, but it was still good for what it was. So, like I said, I've said it before, and I'm saying that again right now. But, like I said, this show, I just don't get this fucking crowd. I don't get it. They were horrible. They were horrible. So that's Raw for you, because I was just starting to drain, like literally, I don't know, I was just starting to zone out watching this show. Maybe because I've been walking at the idol show all day, looking at all the nice cars and cool shit that's coming out. So there you go. But like I said, from that, DX being in the Hall of Fame, my thoughts on that at the beginning of the video, there you go. You can go check that out if you want to also. But I am out of here. Comment, subscribe, tell me what you thought about Monday Night Raw tonight. Please check out my Elimination Chamber review last night. Follow me on Twitter at HoodedKnight890. It's Mess Price 890 for you. So please check out the show and tell me what you thought about Raw and the Elimination Chamber. If you have any chance on that, check out that video. But I am out of here. I will see you guys later. Peace out.